Pressed.
The scene begins at the Looking Glass Cabaret. Calliope is returning from another evening of working on choreography with the girls elsewhere while the show for Sunday evening carries on. She enters the cabaret and goes up the first flight of stairs. The entrance level to this building is a foyer. As the stairs go up, it almost seems like you shrink, as if you were going through a pathway like they would in the Looking Glass that makes you smaller all of a sudden. That passageway all of a sudden leads to where the books become larger than life, as if you had drunk the drink that said "drink me" and made you smaller. After passing through the optical illusions and up to another stairway level, she crosses through the next area of the cabaret, which happens to be a lounge area. Enchanted Forest-style lounge. This first real floor of the cabaret has light musicians in the corner, sofas and chairs and things set up for people who want a little bit more down-tempo, a aerial acrobatic entertainer dancing on trapeze artist things, and hookahs abounding for those who wish to imbibe in the finer things of life like the caterpillar would. Knowing what's there, she takes a brief passing glance at the clientele and continues on the way up to the second floor, which contains the Queen's Maze. This area is for those who wish to imbibe in food and other types of pleasures before going to the evening's show. A trite more family-friendly on this floor, still allowing minors and those under the age of 18 on this level and the level beforehand. However, anyone that goes past this level must be of legal age. She continues to scurry by and passes by the sweethearts doing another evening routine on the stage. Enamored crowd watching them in awe. The typical club-type scene until she finally makes her way up to the top fourth floor of the facility where the VIP lounge happens to be. She walks through the bar area of the VIP lounge, which would be the Queen of Hearts chamber. All of the decor done up as if it were the Queen of Hearts castle herself. The chairs and tables, a little bit over the top perhaps, but she's a toreador. It's to be expected. And finally moves her way over to the more private lounge, which has been vacated and closed for the evening for anyone except one John Stanhope sitting in a corner with his records, his bookkeeping, them all sprawled out on a table, ignoring the footstools, the ottomans, and the hookahs and other things for people to take pleasure in. He seems to be solely focused on his work. And that is where the scene will begin.
John seems to be very uptight. He's hunched over the various forms and files laid out across him. A single Scotch whiskey hasn't been touched. Occasionally he'll pick it up and waft it around his face and nose before putting it down, running his hands through his hair, taking off his glasses and rubbing the bridge of his nose in frustration, taking out a pocket calculator and trying to make some of these numbers work.
She walks in, would normally be sweaty if she were still human, but in her dance attire, the night warm, almost feeling as if it were summer, even though it's not yet in Massachusetts. At the books again, I see. She puts down her tote bag. You can hear the sound of the sword clanking in the bag and the rest of her materials, and sits on an ottoman across from him.
At the disruption, John's eyes flash upwards, a snarl barely concealed onto his lips for being interrupted before he comes to his senses and back into the room, realizing, of course, where he is and who is talking to him, at which he will return looking at it and then disgustedly push the papers away. It's just too much. Too much, and none of them had the sense between them, those inbred fools of orchids.
You look like you need another drink. She goes behind to the bar area and opens up another cupboard underneath for the more long-lived clientele that frequent her establishment, and pours him one of his own.
Do you have any idea how much they owned?
Half the damn city.
Near enough. Like, look at this. Security firms, arms factories, let alone Clarity Orchid's estate, which is pretty much, as you say, it involves Nobility Hill, the Black Orchid. And it wouldn't help if she wasn't funding it all from her own purse, which unfortunately I don't have. The Orchid especially is a money sink, but I can't afford to lose it.
Lose it? You're not a financier. What? Don't you have people to do this?
Oh, I have spent most of the evening with Brooks, my accountant, until I was thoroughly done with his admirations. This expansion is far more than I expected. I never knew how much needed to be put into it. I can't run it all by myself. I mean, look at this. He thrusts a legal piece of paper in front of her, which happens to be a photocopy of Reb Aronson's will.
Okay. I mean, I understand about this much of legalese. I had, like, college politics, and that's not reading this kind of shit.
Do you know how much the Orchids have hoarded from the clan and from the vampires? Not even passing it out, just creating more and more ghouls, all of which have to be taken care of. I mean, look at this. Schoen's Sausage Company. Why the hell did the Venture have Schoen's Sausage Company? We've got a Clarity Orchid's estate, Dragonstone Security. I had no idea we got that. Wolf Island belongs to us. We've got First Founding Security, Metal Storm's arm manufacturer. I've got Lotharius' mansion and all his staff, which are, by the way, ghouls. A hotel chain, the main airport. The list goes on and on.
I know exactly why they have a sausage factory. Did you not watch The Sopranos?
The what?
She laughs to herself as the old man in him this comes back out. She says, The Sopranos, mob show, mafia. They cut someone off, they grind him up. Oldest trick in the book. How do you think they get rid of the bodies?
I send Jeffrey to an incinerator.
Well, maybe you're more classy than that, and they're just kicking it old school. She tries to suppress, like, a laugh, looking at him in his utter frustration with the finances.
He tenses because he can definitely sense that she is finding some amusement over his suffering. Do you want any of it?
Not my clan, not my problem. I have enough dealing with this as it is, but I just look at things and I point at them and I say, that looks pretty, I want this there, this looks fantastic, make it happen. And my manager gets people that know how to fix different things, and he brings them in and they fix it and we pay them as contractors and it's done. But then again, I have one establishment, not an empire.
I built my Vitae business from the ground up. I built everything from the ground up. It was all very slow and meticulous. I only added things I knew I could incorporate. The clinics were an obvious choice. Black deals with that. I've already gotten enough medical knowledge to be able to slip in and take whatever persona, but I have no idea on some of these enterprises. I have no idea about gun manufacture. Jesus, I can barely hold one.
Well, that's why you have someone else that you trust that can run the business.
Who can I trust in my clan?
Well, Cesari's out for the count, so...
I wouldn't trust Cesare with a cutlery set, let alone the Ventru finances. I mean, here's the list of people I trust in this city. You. And there we go. Like,
And you keep me as a paramour and fine arm candy. I'm not the one to have the financial and business brain.
I mean, let's go for the list. I mean, Flag is competent. I could probably palm off some for him, but he's always too focused on his own ends, and when I actually will need something from him, I'm sure it won't be there. Crown, he has a tendency to get obsessed with small details.
What about your the human that you had your drinking thing with when you were human?
Scarlet?
Whatever his name was. The one that they were all looking at making into a ghoul.
Ah,
He's still floating around the casino somewhere?
I don't think so. He hasn't turned up for work. I assume that he's been embraced and is currently undergoing his training. He will be out of commission for at least a decade if he's good. Bless him, he's a sweet boy, but I think it'll take him at least 5 before he actually comes out to be presented to the prince.
You, Ventru, takes so long to do these things.
That's because we're meticulous, and we have standards to keep up. We can't be like Toreador and just embrace some pretty thing off the street and hope it works.
If it didn't work, I would have been dead already.
You're the exception of the rule, you know this. Can you tell me any of your brethren within this city that was actually some forethought in actually embracing them?
I don't know all of their stories. There's a new one floating around too. One of the anarchy type ones.
Oh, they're coming back, are they? I thought Teflon Gary was the last one.
No. Talked with my Primogen for a bit. I think they actually had foresight, and I think my foster mother had some foresight in her embrace too, but they were of a different generation.
The old ways. And the worst thing is, I can't let any of this go, and I can't exactly go to Iris about this because she owns half the damn city, and from her finances she can't run anything either.
Why can't you let some of it go? Why can't you just sell it, cut it as a loss, or cut it where you can, and take that money and put it somewhere else?
I am trying to promote into the Ventru that we can hold this city. Our prince has no influence, no businesses, cannot run
But
paper bag.
I'm not talking about selling it to kindred. Why don't you just sell something like that to a normal mortal and then just occasionally supervise or pop back in on them? That's still controlling the city, but you're not spreading yourself so thin that you just can't handle it anymore.
Perhaps. The problem is, if I let go, there's no guarantee that the Giovanni aren't going to swoop in. Iris is going to be looking at what I do with the clan, and what comes through Iris eventually goes to Ewan.
Why? They...
How? Quite. I have no idea. She always seems to be up into the Outlanders' offences. I don't know who she's being controlled by at the moment. I assume Ewan. There's no way the Giovanni could have taken so much power without any resistance while she was Seneschal. It makes sense. Her and your Primogen have something going on, but I'm not sure if they're rivals, friends, lovers, who knows.
No. He had a relationship with his child, but she's gone now. I didn't feel her being gone, like I did with Winters, but who knows where she is.
Which one was his child?
Lord. The one that kept at the bookstore.
Oh, the neonate Primogen.
Yes.
He tried to sell all the blood to the... Yeah, yes, I remember. I thought Paige killed her.
I didn't feel the death and see it the same way that I saw Winters. The seals were there. There was no sign of forced exit or anything else. It was very strange. He said he took care of it, but she didn't die in that room.
Tremere. What can I say? And yes, I will have to delegate to some of the younger venture, it seems. This Aiden is competent. Apparently our harpy, Jace, is supposed to be a Reb yes man. He might prove useful. Need more Ventru. That's the crux of it. I need more Ventru.
Sorry, I can't help you there.
I don't know. What do elders do when they find that they've got too much and they need to manage it?
They go to sleep. And they don't come back for 200 years.
I have plenty of fight left in me. I am not taking the long nap just yet. Good God, if I went to torpor now, I hate to think what the city would be like when I woke up.
If you had one.
Precisely. Must do something, though. I cannot let Iris gloat. Tell me about what's happening with you, Calliope. It might ease my mind from my own troubles.
I'm giving zero shits what the rest of my clan is doing right now, or to deal with that politics. I tried for a while. It wasn't worth my caring. It wasn't worth my stressing myself about. It wasn't worth my running about taking every waking thought and concern for people other than myself that are just going to fuck me over as soon as I turn my back.
Welcome to kindred life, my love.
So I stopped. That's why I haven't talked to anyone except for you in so long.
It's all well and good, love, but if you continue to lie in the background and just look at yourself, eventually the Sabbat are going to roll in, or the Giovanni, or someone else is going to take what they want, and no one's going to come and defend you. No one's going to fear you. It's who you know and who might come after them if they fuck with you. That's what stops people from striking.
Low enough under the radar for now. Don't worry about the rest of it later. That's my sword skills improve.
Well, I could do with the help.
You need people to manage all of this, not just kindred.
I'm not talking about the influence. That will sort itself out. I will have to liquidate some assets, especially the ghouls.
How long have they been ghouls? Do you know?
Various. Lotharius is years and years and years.
They're either
Rebs,
going to have to turn or they're just going to die, so.
yes, but I don't want a sudden case of turn to ash appear in the local newspaper.
You can take them out somewhere remote. Chain them to a tree in the forest. A tree falls down in the forest, but no one hears.
A train crash, that's suitably tragic, but unavoidable.
Why do you even need to bother with that much? Just make it so that they can't get away, stick them in a place where they can't get out of the sun, chain them to the top of a building.
Not all of them have completely left their mortal life, love. That amount of people suddenly going missing is going to ring alarm bells.
So filter out the ones that you can filter out first. The ones that don't have human families still.
I just can't believe that Clarity and Reb allowed it to get this far. I mean, Jesus, there must be over 100 ghouls in this roster. Where did they find the blood? I'm telling you, if I don't figure something out, we're going to have a horde of rampaging rogue ghouls on our hands. No one wants that.
Go kill them.
That's the idea.
Round them up into a basement that they can't escape. Or perhaps a solarium. Even better. Something that they can't escape. Open the sun gates. Done. True Blood style.
Then again. Now, stop me if this is a little barbaric. We own Wolf Island. Wolf Island has Wolf's favourite fighting arena. Why not profit from the death of this insurgent of servants? Those who survive, of course, or prove invaluable, will be allowed to live.
How poetic.
It's efficient. I wouldn't say it was poetic.
Well, it's just like old times. Everyone loves, remembering back to the good old days, and hell, some of these kindred might remember back that far.
A little bit of nostalgia might help. I don't know. I might have to run it past Lysander. He's a little humanitarian for his taste.
Softy.
I don't know. Could do it. Doesn't have to be under the purview of the prince. Say...
Look, if you tell it to Lysander and you say, look, they've held these ghouls. There's no way we can possibly feed them all this much blood. This is a very efficient way to find the best fighters for us to keep on the front lines for when the Sabbat come. Keep the best, get rid of the rest.
The Sabbat, I like it. Are you sure you don't want to work? Like, I'll buy you a host of business suits.
I had enough of those when I was working for the mayor.
Yes, you did work for the mayor. You did work for the mayor, didn't you?
Oh no. That smile.
We need someone in City Hall. The Camarilla needs someone in City Hall. There is no one in City Hall apart from the Giovanni.
That was who was in City Hall before.
Yes, but Lotharius was in City Hall making sure that the Giovanni didn't do anything rash. They thought they were in control, we were actually in control.
Yes, but Lotharius has legitimate embezzling skills. My skills fall under the social umbrella of making people feel good about themselves and their decisions.
Well, then you can talent scout. You don't need to be the head of a department. This is the one thing that a lot of kindred, especially my kind, I suppose, get wrong. You don't need the person running the show. You just need the admin staff, the cleaners. You just need to get in there.
HR.
Exactly.
Probably handle HR. Don't ask me to do IT.
I mean, is one of your sweethearts taking a law degree?
They vary in their talents. And I try to hire them with a variety of things to be able to keep track of the rest of the business here as well. Haven't hired one that's in law yet. hired ones that are capable of bartending, ones that are better at books, the other bits and pieces of things that I need around the office, and they're all required to work their shows and work at least 5 hours of something else a week.
If it doesn't interest you, fine. But could you perhaps give me a list of some of your co-workers, for instance, their habits or vices, any secrets that may allow me to leverage a person of my choosing within the office?
Oh, if I were at City Hall.
Yeah.
It's much harder to pull that as a day job now, too. I don't know if they've continued with as much in the way of the night shift as they used to.
All I need is names. A starting point.
It may be better and less conspicuous to send someone in who's either one of my entranced folks or someone who's a ghoul.
Precisely. I was...
You have a million of them on your hands now.
Very true. I can see if any of them are suitable for the task. It'll save them going to the arena, I suppose.
Why don't you send some of them to scout the other city?
Because I fear what they know.
Hmm.
Who knows what they have ever heard? Not only can they break the masquerade wide open, but they could probably give the Sabbat quite a lot of information, especially about the Ventru and our havens. We're rather...
Predictable.
habit, let's say.
Maybe some of the younger and dumber ones then, the ones who still have families. Send them over to the other city on business. Then it looks like they got into a regular natural accident. They don't know enough because they haven't been around for 50 years.
Oh my lord, did I not tell you?
Hmm.
Theo Bell broke the back of the Sabbat in the sister city.
Who did?
Theo Bell, the Archon.
I don't know the Archon.
Ah, apologies. We should really catch up on our lessons of Camarilla, my dear. Theo Bell is the Archon of the Bruja. He and a contingent of Camarilla came in with the help of Deep and Cole, as well as a Bruja named Alex, and they broke the Sabbat. However, their remnants or the survivors are filtering here for succor, whether to escape or to strike us back. But the sister city has fallen back into its rightful hands.
Oh, the things you miss when you're balls deep in renovation.
Oh, I could go on all evening over the intricacies of court at the moment, my love, but I know that will bore you.
I'd need a hookah.
But it is entirely up to you. If you could just give me a set of names of your previous colleagues and any leverage I might push onto them, I will do the rest.
There was one blonde girl who I happened to bump into once, who was the daytime secretary for Oz. I think she was Wolf's girl, though. And I haven't seen her in a while.
Not a good survival technique being Wolf's girl.
Well, he has his ghouls, as do all of your clan.
Had his ghouls.
I'm sure he can still have something.
The man went on a mad trip to find Gondola. If he's not dead already, I'm sure Morgan would have staked him out of sheer frustration.
Golconda. That never got mentioned. Of course, Leo took off before he could really mention much.
Oh, it is a fable amongst our kind. A blessed state of transcendence, like ascending, I suppose, for the Shaolin monks or whatnot, where varying theories differ. Some believe you turn human again, others that you marry up your conscious mind to the beast and no longer need blood. A interesting fable, nothing more.
She looks strangely intrigued by this. Like, more interest than she's had in any other business conversation for the rest of the evening.
Unfortunately, it is not my expertise, my love. I am not into the... We in the venture group generally don't spend a lot of time on fairy stories.
There's truth in every fairy tale.
I think it's a lot of wishful thinking. If you want to know more about it, I suspect Lysander would be a good person to talk to. Maybe the Tremere? They like to hoard knowledge.
But if you're trying to better yourself, why wouldn't it be a noble quest? I've been trying this whole entire time to see if I can't find a harmonious balance between accepting the fact that I need blood and sustenance, but I don't have to be a monster about it. There's that other pull that makes you want to do it. And then not feeling guilty about what I am. I'm nowhere near not feeling guilty, but...
Calliope, my love. I know you're very young. Tales of Golconda have been along since the very beginning, since the inception of the Camarilla, and not a single kindred has done it.
That you know of.
Do you really think that a kindred that could walk out in daylight or become human again and wouldn't get heard of eventually by the Nosferatu, by the Tremere?
Perhaps they would, but there are definitely human stories about that.
Ah, yes, I'm sure that we can all be birthed by gods and have the strength of Hercules.
Some of us do. Have you watched Lysander punch some walls?
He's a kindred. You know what I mean. It's a fallacy. It's a fairy tale. It's like the antediluvians. It's a bedtime story to make our kind feel a little bit more hopeful. It is a lie. There is nothing. This is the existence we have, and we have to make do of it as we can.
But if there's hopefulness and you're doing something better, then doesn't it still serve a purpose?
Only serves to delude oneself.
But that can still give you purpose to not just wither away.
I prefer something a little bit more constructive for my purposes. Thank you very much.
Like this pile of paperwork that's driving you crazy?
It is just a puzzle I haven't figured out yet.
And one day, that puzzle will kill you.
I have a tangible purpose. To create a city in which we can be safe and prosperous. I can see it grow as the years go by. One step at a time.
Well, this isn't just a step. This is jumping over a goddamn river.
Nothing that's ever worth having isn't worth fighting for. Isn't worth some difficulty. If it was too
Like
easy, we would have got good.
Wakanda.
Fine. You want to go chasing around, finding Tinkerbell and the Loch Ness Monster? Fine.
Maybe I will. She stands up. Good night. And walks out.
Sodding fledgling, doesn't have stupid ideas. And John gets back to his paperwork. Scene ends.